The opinions you're about to hear on this show are strictly those of the panel.
Today's digital landscape with the spread of false information can lead to dangerous outcomes. It's crucial for everyone to think critically and verify sources and reflect on the impact of what they share. Let's promote responsible communication to ensure that truth prevails and actions remain rooted in reality.
The following program is rated TV MA LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
That's my son.
Oh, I thought you guys would get a kick out of that last video. Yeah, I whipped that one up right before the show, but I thought it would be funny. So I hope you liked it. I thought it was cute. I found it on TikTok, as you can tell. But tonight I wanted to talk about a few things about what I've been seeing happening in our country is families not taking care of each other, not supporting each other. Husbands not supporting their wives, and wives not supporting the husbands or girlfriends or boyfriends, and the children dissing their parents, expecting, me, that attitude. Seeing it a lot. So I was going to talk a little bit about that type of stuff this evening and how we're not born that way. It's basically taught, depending on where you're raised, on how you treat your parents and your grandparents, and being taught, to teach your children as you grow up to treat others with respect, your elders. And I'm not talking about waiting on them hand and foot. I'm sorry. I got a dry spot in my throat. Waiting on them hand and foot or anything like that. I'm talking about, saying yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, and thank you, and no, thank you. Things like that. Little things that it only takes a few seconds to take of your time to do. So, because I wanted to start out with this first video that I saw that made me start really thinking about it. So I want to share that with you first. I think this one's it. Yeah. I thought this was interesting because as babies, we're not born with fear, basically. We're not like a baby chick or other animals that are born almost ready to take care of themselves when they're first born. Where a baby chick will, duck if something flies overhead, a few things like that, and run. Well, babies, they're helpless when they're born. So basically, everything we do when we have a child is to get the child prepared to take care of themselves as they get older, and that includes our fears. So if you don't like certain things, you won't eat those things, or you won't cook those things, so your child never gets to eat it to find out whether they like it. And when they see your face and your facial expressions like, ew, that's gross, they don't want to try it. So basically, I thought this video made me think about that when I first saw it, because it says human babies do not fear snakes. Well, I'm not really that afraid of snakes unless I know they're poisonous, because I think I'm faster than a snake, and that I could just walk the other way, and I'm not that afraid of them. But many people are. But what's funny is most babies, or almost every baby that I've seen in any of these studies, they don't fear things like that. Now, you leaving the room, they're going to cry because they want mom or they want dad, depending on which one feeds them the most and spends the most time with them. But I wanted to show this with you so we can, delve into it a little bit. But here we go. This is very interesting. I think, make sure it's turned up. Yeah, here we go.
Is this okay? Don't touch it. Don't touch it. They don't seem that concerned at all, which is concerning me.
I know, it's unbelievable to see, isn't it?
Our infants aren't fussed about the snakes at all. They're far more interested in their toys. In fact, psychologists believe that along with heights, there's only one other fear that appears this early in our development. The fear of loud noises. All of the others, including the fear of snakes, are learned later. I wonder how the parents feel watching this.
This is set up to be very safe.
Okay.
These are trained snakes that are used to being with humans.
They're non-venomous?
They're non-venomous.
I'm sorry.
So once you've learned to fear them, it's an awful feeling.
But we start out like this.
Well, we start
not
out
fearing
like
it all,
this.
touching it on the face.
Yeah, just no fear.
I just think it's amazing because honestly, we are the ones that put this onto our children. Spiders, snakes, fear of water. But we should teach them to fear a lot of things. People that we feel are dangerous, which are strangers. And we have seen a lot of that lately with the human trafficking stuff, child abuse, children gone missing that we never find, all these things. But it happens to adults too. But the thing I want to talk about more is the fact that we teach them biases. Look at that person. Look how they're dressed, or look at their skin color, or look how short they are, or how fat they might be. All those things we put onto our children and to our other loved ones that we're responsible for. Let's say they're not even your kids, they're nieces and nephews, right? You might do or say things that influence them. Like you got a cool uncle or a cool aunt and they like cool music or they like cool movies, and you put movies in that mom and dad wouldn't approve of, right? But you still put them in anyways because you're the cool aunt or uncle, and you say, don't tell your parents, that we watch this. I've discussed this many times with Bruce on some of our other shows of how young he was when he saw certain movies, because he was at his uncle's or whatever's house. And same thing with me. I had 4 sisters, so it was really hard for my parents to make sure that, we had different TVs in different rooms, that we weren't watching something we weren't supposed to. And it's hectic, especially if you have a parent, if both your parents worked, or if both of you work, and you've got to keep things from your children, or try to. You do the best you can. And that's all we can do, is try to be as mindful as we can about what our children are exposed to. But with TV, internet, music today, it's got hoe and bitch and, all this stuff in it all the time. The videos are very risque. They have Satan stuff in them, or they have religious things that you don't agree with in them. There's just so much, and it's so hard for parents to keep up with all that stuff. Unless you're one of the parents that are constantly on the internet and can find things. But that's basically the kind of things I want to discuss tonight, is us trying a little harder about helping our loved ones, our family, our friends, find out about things. If you hear about something or you see something that disturbs you or you think is bad, do you tell anyone? Do you share it with anyone? Besides, one friend, or let's say you're only friends with people online on one or two apps, and on those apps you constantly share information. But when you go home, do you tell anyone? Like if you saw that there's a robbery down the street, you would probably tell someone. Like today, I was out working in my yard, working on a bench that I posted on one of my timelines. And I had someone tell me that there was a person that they had seen on Facebook that they were looking for a person within the 2 or 3 mile area where we were at, and what they were wearing, and that they had stolen a truck, and that this person could be dangerous. And if you see them, not to approach them or anything, but to call the police. So it does happen, even in the rural areas like where I'm at right now. But it's hard, isn't it? It's hard to be around enough to know what your kids are doing when they're with their friends at school, and school's about to start, and it has started in some states. So we're going to have less control over what's going on, and that's hard. But if you have a good relationship with your kids will say, hey, I saw something and it bothered me, or someone said something to me, things like that. And if we could get more relationships like that between grandparents and their grandchildren, or parents with their kids, or uncles and aunts with their nieces and nephews, or even with your best friends, right? And help them try to have a better relationship with their nieces and nephews, or any way that you can to try to help other people through your church. Or let's say you volunteer through some center that like Girls and Boys Club, something like that. We can all do something, okay? Because we aren't born with it, right? Just like I just showed that video, we are not born with fear. Now, the reason we react to loud noises is because it shocks you when you hear it, especially a loud noise. But I've showed videos before, like of children, and they have a plexiglass like area, and it's a huge hole. And it could be water down there, it could be anything down there, and the kid will just climb right over it. They don't realize that they're going to fall. That if it wasn't for that, that plexiglass, they would have fell off a cliff or whatever. They don't understand that because they're babies. And we are the reason why the next generation learns things like balancing a checkbook, or how to read and write, how to learn about history, or to build something with blocks, or to dig holes and plant gardens. All those things, it's all taught. How to handle snakes, what ones are good ones, what ones are bad. We teach each other things. That's how we learn. And the one thing that I'm seeing a huge lack of in our country is common sense. Okay. If there's a fire in front of you and you stand too close to it, you're going to get burnt. You can feel the heat coming off. So don't jump around and drink and party around a fire where somebody can get pushed into it, or fall into it because they stumble because they're drinking, or smoking pot and getting high and falling into the fire. There's dangers out there. And if you have a friend that's too tipsy, you're going to probably step in and say, oh, let's get away from the fire, or let's don't do that. You're going to help them because you care about them. And you'd hope they care about you enough to do the same, right? That's compassion. We all have certain things that we have more of than someone else, simply because of who raised us, where we were. And my mother used to say that a lot. to us girls, that if she had taken me out of my crib and put me in another crib in another house, and she had taken that child and put it in her house, that even though we didn't look just alike, that other child would probably be more like the other sisters because they were raised in the same house and taught the same things. And whatever that family's religion was or other beliefs, I would have used those because of where I was raised. So genetics does play a role in some aspects, but honestly, I think your environment plays the biggest role in how you're going to turn out. If you're abused, you're most likely going to abuse. That's just common sense, I feel. I'm not a scientist. I'm just a mom. Okay. I'm just a daughter, and I've been a wife. I've been a sister. I've had jobs. I've been a florist. I've done lots of things in my life. So that's what adds to who I am. And I use that in my daily life to live, to work, pay my bills, to cook. All the things that I do are things that I learned through my life. And just like everyone in the chat and everyone else out there, it's the same thing for them. And when you meet new people, you usually say, hello, how are you? It's nice to meet you. My name's Janet. What's your name? And you introduce yourself to them. That's courtesy. That's kindness. That's just wanting to get to know a new person and learn about that person. They may be interesting. You may get to know them and say, oh, I never want to meet that person again because they just end up being a total jerk or boring or whatever it is, reason why you wouldn't want to see them again. But that's our lives. Okay. Our lives are each day who we are with, what we do, and how we want to spend it. And then at the end of our life, it's over, and whatever we left behind goes on in the next generation, whoever it was that we decided to share our information with. But I just wanted to share that one video because to me, it really makes you open your eyes when you realize that you're not born with all these things. We're born, we're a blank slate basically, and we're imprinted on whatever our surroundings give us. So I wanted to share that because I thought that was important to start off with. And then the next thing I want to bring up that I think will make a difference in trying to explain what I'm trying to talk about tonight is there's just different things that we all do and how we influence people. A lot of things that I've seen today on TV and stuff is religion. People arguing over, well, you're a Catholic and you're a Christian, or you're a Muslim, or you're a Jew, or I hate that religion and I hate that religion, and nobody wants to get along. Instead of just accepting, hey, I believe in what I believe and they believe in what they believe. As long as what their belief doesn't push on mine and tell me I can't believe the way I do, then why would I do that to them? You know what I mean? So as long as it's not affecting me, or I don't see it trying to affect everyone else, then to me, it's fine for them to have that religion, unless it's hurting people. I mean, if you're a devil worshiper and you believe in killing people, I mean, that's wrong because it goes against man's laws. So, that's how I look at it. But this next thing is about something I saw that came across my timeline on X. And it's sad because a lot of people, no matter what religion you are, and I'm using it as to show you what I'm talking about, being influenced as a child to do things that you probably wouldn't if you were raised somewhere else or by different parents. This is sad because you're seeing two different videos side by side showing children being used in propaganda. Okay. They're told, they're probably paid, and they're probably praised and told how wonderful they are, that they're warriors fighting for something, but they're being used to get other people to feel like you have to help them because these kids are being hurt or starved. But when you find out later, because you see facts that prove that that was all fake, a lot of people still don't want to admit that they were duped, so they go along with it. It's sad, but it happens every day, and I see it happen a lot on different apps, because I'll know certain people that constantly push the narrative, even though they know that it's fake, it's not real. So I want to share this. Okay, this is they call it Pallywood in action. I don't really call it that. To me, it's just propaganda. It doesn't matter whether it's on our news in the United States, or if it's on the news somewhere else, or if people are caught lying while they're doing something. Like, there was a video that came out years ago, and it was a woman, and she was a reporter, and she was acting like she was almost getting blown away by a hurricane, right? And there was a flood or whatever. And then you see some people walking past her, behind her, and in a little bit in the distance, but they're not being blown around, and and stuff. So she basically got caught on live TV lying to the people that the storm was 10 times worse than it really was. And that's not right. It's not right when you turn on the news to get news and you get lied to. And then when you find out it's a lie, do you not tell other people, wow, that was the biggest lie I've ever seen? Or do you just turn the channel and not tell anyone? Don't help another person find the facts. Well, I believe in truth. I believe in, if I find out something is fake, I want people to know it's not real, because they might eat it, they might smoke it, they might wear it, they might tell other people it's true, and then later on they get embarrassed because they find out they were sharing something that wasn't true or that was fake. Knowing that it was fake is different than sharing something you didn't have a clue was. And then when you found out later on that one of your friends knew it was fake months and months ago and they never told you, is that person still going to be someone you trust? So I wanted to share this. I don't know if you saw it, but I'll share this link for this in the chat for anyone who wants to go and research it themselves. You can.
وجثامينهم عائلات استهدفت أشلاء في هذا المكان كما تشاهدون. الآن نقل الشهداء وجثامينهم عائلات استهدفت أشلاء في هذا المكان كما تشاهدون.
Okay, I think that's enough of it for you to get the gist of what I'm talking about. We will see, like during the pandemic, there was many times we had some live streamers that went to certain places where the emergency room was supposedly overflowing with people on gurneys, people lining up because there were so many people just falling over dead from COVID. And so they went to the emergency room and they walk around and they're like, where's all the people? Because there wasn't any. They were trying to make it, the news was trying to make you think it was such a bad pandemic that you were going to die if you didn't wear a mask, if you didn't stay home, if you went to church, you're going to get sick and die. But you could go to Walmart and you could go to the liquor store and you could go to the strip bar. You could go to all these places, but you can't go to church. Things like that. And so many people did it because they were threatened that if you have people in your church, then we're not going to give you the funding that we promised you. Things like that. It was with threatening. They threatened people. If you don't wear your mask, if you don't get your shot, if you don't do this, you don't do that, you're not going to have a job. That is wrong. It's wrong to force people against their will to do something they don't believe in. And, like anything, if you only offer one channel on TV, okay, and that's all you can watch, you have to watch this channel. Would you watch TV? Or would you go listen to music? Or would you go play games with your family? Or go outside and work in your yard, grow something in your garden? I'm telling you, if my government told me I could only watch that television set with what they put on it, I wouldn't be watching it. I can tell you that right now. So that's my point of view, but I wouldn't. And because I wouldn't believe in it. But I wanted to share that because it's sad when I see stuff like that. And I have seen many, 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 many videos as we're seeing more and more stuff coming out that it was fake, but loads of fake stuff. And now that we have AI, we're going to see other things coming out, videos and, all kinds of stuff. Who knows? But you have to be careful not to believe everything you see. Just because you see it doesn't mean it's true, right? So just want you to be careful, and don't let other people talk you into something. If you don't know if it's true, go look it up. You can use the internet like anybody else. It's not against the law, at least not in the United States. It is in some countries. You can't go find anything. You have to take whatever you're told and just say, oh, well, that's the way it is. So, hi, you guys. I forgot to look at the chat. Hi, Soy-Based Jeremy. Thank you for stopping in, hanging out for a little bit. And I see 101 Woke Words is in here. Let's see who else. Six Nations. I'm sorry, I was busy. I didn't see you yet. Let's see who else is in here. Going up a little bit on the chat. Oh, Jackie Blue, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate you. Crafting Gamer. Yeah, I said hello to him earlier before I started. And I see Baby Girls in here. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate all of you. And I'm going to get that real quick, the thing about the babies with the snakes. So we'll do that first. So that I'm going to share it in the chat. So give me 1 second. Oh, but yeah, this kind of stuff just really bothers me, especially when I see people laughing and stuff about it and think it's funny because somebody believes something. They're a different religion than you, or whatever it is, and what's funny is the way that some of these people act. It's like they're in high school, but these people like in their 30s, okay, and it's like it's sad. It's really sad. And what's really going to be sad is when something like that happens to those people and nobody's around to help them, or they're going to get laughed at, and they're the ones that are going to be crying in their rooms or whatever. And they're not going to have anyone to help them because they've done it so many times to other people. And that's the sad fact about being a bully. When you're the bully, guess what? There's no one around to help you after you're the one that starts getting bullied. And that's really sad. It's sad to be a bully. But this next thing I thought was really, really interesting, because it's people like me, that are like, going, what can we do? This is terrible. We got to fix this. We got to find a way around it. Well, here's some parents that have found something different. Okay. It says the mom started showing her toddlers 90s TV shows and says the lower stimulation has made a major impact on their behavior. I thought this was pretty interesting. So when I watched this video, I went, wow, it does make a difference. When your kid sits there on their little iPad or their cell phone and they're watching YouTube for Kids or whatever, you don't know what's on there. You're trusting that YouTube is making sure that only child-friendly content is on there. And I'm telling you right now, as many times that I've been on YouTube for Kids, just to see what's on there, and there's a lot of inappropriate stuff on there. It slips in, and it's too late once they see it. When they see something they shouldn't see, it's in there. And then when you take the phone quickly, guess what? It's imprinted. So there's a lot of things like that you really got to think about it. And when there is a show that you want your kids to watch, you should watch it yourself and approve it first. Just like movies. I was appalled when I went to see South Park, the movie, and people were standing in line with little kids, 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds. And I'm like, you brought your children to see a South Park movie? And they're like, it's a cartoon. And these were grown-ups. These were adults with children. I was just surprised. I was shocked. And it's sad, but, I wasn't their parent. So I just was like, okay, whatever. I couldn't do anything. But I did say I was shocked that they brought their kids. So I did speak up about it. It's just that it's too late after they saw the movie with Satan in it and Saddam Hussein having a lovers, stuff going on in there. And it was just not appropriate for children. I would have been heartbroken if I'd found out that, someone took one of my kids.
Can showing kids
Yeah.
90s TV shows
Yes.
impact their behavior and even their sleep? A couple of moms started showing their toddlers the good old 90s classics for kids. Shows like Arthur, Roly Poly Oly, and even throwbacks like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. And say the lower stimulation has made a major change in their kids. The moms and best friends named Lauren and Sarah, known online as Mamas and Messes, found that their kids were less attached to screen time and had fewer meltdowns after they introduced the retro programming to their kids. Meltdowns when taking screens away are, of course, incredibly common. And scientists say it's in part because so much of today's content, and especially the platforms on which kids view it, are essentially designed to be addictive. So kids literally don't know how to cope when they're ripped away from their screens and content. We've covered this a bit previously, if you'd like to check it out and learn more. But Mamas and Messes found that switching to the much slower pace of old school pre-social media content had a totally different effect. The kids would just watch an episode or two, and when it was time to turn it off, there was no battle. They'd just go back to playing. But the biggest shift they noticed was a change in sleep patterns. One mom's little boy was sleeping longer and better, which she chalked up to the slower pace of TV shows from back in the day. Other moms online were inspired to try this experiment too, and had very similar results. Now, it's not all 90s all the time. They still make space for things like Bluey and Ms. Rachel. But the positive outcomes they've seen from 90s kid shows have made them a new mainstay. Who knows, maybe the solution to the screen time problem is simply giving your little ones an appreciation for the classics.
Maybe it is. Honestly, who knows for sure? The person who should have the say when it comes to a child's and what the child is seeing is the parents. Okay, I don't believe a school or the government or anyone has the right to come in your house and say, you can't let your kid watch that, or you can't let your kid eat that, or you can't do this with your kid. To me, in the United States of America, you have the right to be a parent, period. If you carried that baby in your body and your husband's going to work every day and he's paying the bills and he's taking care of his wife and getting his house ready for his child, they have every right to raise their child under whatever religion they're going to raise their child under and do the rules at their home, whether they want their kids to sit at the table and eat dinner or whether they're all going to sit in front of the TV with a TV tray and they're going to eat hot dogs every Friday night. It's nobody else's business. See, I really believe that too. So there's lots of things that I don't believe the government should have any say in. But if you have a kid that down the street that you notice all the time is covered with bruises, they're never look like they never get a bath. They don't look you in the eye. They don't go outside and play. There's lots of little things. Then you can have suspicion and think maybe something bad might be happening in that house. But that's because you're paying attention to what's going on in your neighborhood, and let alone in your own house. You see what I mean? It's scary because I have had it my own family in my own house, not in my own home, but in my family with siblings and cousins, things like that, with abuse, either from the husband to the kids or to the wife, other people abusing their nieces or nephews, if you know what I'm saying, if you get my drift. So there's lots of things that we should all be on the lookout for. A kid that wets their bed or has nightmares, starts all of a sudden starting to have nightmares all the time. All these things could mean something. And the only way to find out is by asking questions. And if you have a relationship with your niece or nephew or your child, you should ask, is everything okay? Is somebody being mean to you at school? Are you having trouble with your schoolwork? Ask them questions. See, they might be having a problem. It might be just something as simple as they got bullied at school by a kid pushing them off the swing. I mean, it could be nothing, but you should have a relationship with your child that you can ask them questions, and not feel like you're being invasive or whatever. So, but pay attention. That's all I'm saying. Pay attention to what's going on around you in your own neighborhoods, in your house, in your family. And you can stop something before it gets really bad. That's what I'm thinking. I'm hoping if you can do that. But I thought that was a really good point of view, because I know a lot of people who save old Disney movies and they have them on VHS, and some of them have them on the I don't know what the other thing is. The giant discs. They're huge discs. I can't remember what they're called, and they love it. They think it's really cool, and the kids love them. They think those things are like giant. It's like being in a Lego game or something. They love putting them in and taking them out and watching the movies that are on there. So laser disc, that's it. And they just think it's awesome. So some of this retro stuff is really cool to kids. Getting to get an old phone out, and that you plug in the wall and talk on it. They're shocked that they can use that and push the buttons if you have one of those, or one that has the rotary dial. A lot of kids have no idea. They've never seen anything like it. But if you have one and you plug it in the wall, if you have a house that's old enough that has that, they can get a whole new experience of something that you had when you were young. It's interesting, and it's good for kids to understand that. It's hands-on history, basically. It's what I call it. To getting to learn something that they probably never would have ever seen. I remember when I got to take one of my kids to an actual drive-in movie theater. They just thought it was so cool, and they wanted to go up and sit in the swing area and watch a movie. So it was a lot of fun, and we all sat on the hood of the car, and it was just, it's different, okay? But it brings you together because you're all in awe of what you're doing, and getting to do it with other people that never experienced anything like that in their life. To see them go through something first. That's a memory that you're going to have forever. No matter what happens, you're always going to remember that was the first time they ever did that, and you got to be with them when they did it. So like being with my mother and my father, all of my sisters, we went on the trip with my parents, and we took them on a vacation, and they had never parasailed. My mom was just petrified, but we all rode on the boat, and we got to see our parents go up in the air, my mom screaming and all that. But when it was finished and she got back in there, she realized, okay, I lived, and she didn't drown because she's afraid of water that got over her, up to her chest. She felt like she was going to die. So the whole thing was a new thing for my mother. It's something my mother had never done, but we all got to be there and experience something. And when she was finished, she felt proud of herself because she tried to do something she had never done. And we were all proud of her. It was fun. And my dad laughed. He was laughing and laughing the whole time. My mom was screaming because he jumped out of airplanes and did all that stuff in the military. So it was just really a good experience. And we miss out on so many things because we're so busy rushing through everything. I got to hurry and get home. I got to hurry and do this. I got to feed the dog. I got to do this. I got to do that. We're rushing through life, and it's flying by. It's flying by, and we're missing little things, that if we take 5 minutes to do this or 5 minutes to do that, and we never know what can happen with that 5 minutes. So just think about that, before you rush to do this, rush and do that. And is it really that important that you get there 5 minutes earlier? Unless your wife's having her baby or you're going to the emergency room or something like that. Think about it. Think about waiting 5 minutes, and seeing if there's a difference in what happens. But that was one of the other things I wanted to do. Let's see, what was this one? Let's see. Oh, okay. Here's another thing I thought was interesting. A lot of people, I've been in some spaces, we're talking about men not being manly anymore, that we're wimping eyes. All the men are becoming wimps, and women are trying to step up because of feminism and all this stuff. Well, I'm a woman. I was born a woman. I've always been a woman. All my sisters were women, or were girls, and now we're women, put it that way. But we had a father that was a jungle survival instructor, right? So he was very macho. He demanded certain things to be done a certain way. And I remember him coming in our room and ripping the sheets of stuff off our bed and making us make it again. And it had to be tight enough where a quarter would bounce on it, stuff like that. Now, why he did that, I have no idea. But guess what? I like a nice tight bed to get in at night. I mean, I like it nice and tight where my toes curl down, I can help it. It was the way I was raised, and that's comfortable to me. I feel snug and comfortable when I get in bed at night because that's how I make my bed. But my father taught me how to make it that way. So that's what I do. And that's what I was talking about earlier about your parents, your family, the people that teach you things influence what you think as you get to become an adult. And some things stick and some things don't, because over time you either get to, I hate that, or I never liked it. Like certain foods, people brag about my mother's food, and I never liked her cornbread. I never liked a lot of things, but I ate it because I wanted my mom, not to be mad at me for not eating it. But as an adult, I just don't eat any of those things because I never liked it when I was a kid, and I don't want to eat it. So that was one of the things that I did do with my own kids. If they liked cornbread, I tried to learn to make it, and I tried to make it the best I could for them, but I didn't like it. So I never ate it. But I would make things that I wouldn't eat for my family because I wanted them to have things that they liked because their grandma had made it or their grandpa had taken them to a restaurant and they had something and I want that. So I try to give it to them because we love them and we want to please the people we love. And doing that is, I think, nice. I think it's a nice thing to be considerate enough to get something for someone, even though you wouldn't want it, right? I don't know. I think it's non-selfish or whatever, but I don't know. A lot of us just seem self-centered and selfish lately. But this little thing that happened, I think everybody heard about it by now, about the young man that was in Doge that got beat up trying to help a woman. And I saw a few people talking about it online. Let me see if this is the one. Yeah, Elon Musk posted this. This is how I found out about it. He said, a few days ago, a gang of about a dozen young men tried to assault a woman in her car at night in D.C. A Doge team member saw what was happening and ran to defend her and was severely beaten to the point of a concussion, but he saved her. Okay, so I remember so many people making fun of this young man when they did this interview with a bunch of them. They brought them on TV and they talked about what college they left to come and work for Elon Musk on the Doge team to try to, dig through all the waste of money and find out where things were going and clear things up, find out where the money was actually going and how much had been spent there and in all the different areas. And he was called, his nickname was Big Balls. But when you saw him, he was just a skinny white kid with curly hair, basically. And he looked like he might be 19 or 20 at the most. But people made fun of him because he was nerdish. He's not a man, he's a wimp. I heard so many terrible things people saying about him, but this right here proves he's not a wimp. The fact that he risked his own life to help another person, whether it was a woman or not, the fact that he did that and took a good beating to do it proves to me that I don't care how tall you are, how short you are, anything about who you are. If you're willing to do that, risk your life to help another, you're definitely not a wimp. And if you're a guy, then you're definitely macho. That's a macho guy. And I'm telling you right now, he is probably going to have a black book this fat after this when the girls find out that this is the kind of man he is. Because who wouldn't want a man like that? I want a man that is willing to stand in front of me and protect me if he feels that there's danger coming. And I'd be willing to make him a sandwich, cook for him or clean up after him or make his bed really tight where he has to have his feet go down like that when he gets in bed. I'd be willing to do that for someone I feel loved me enough to protect me from danger and to be there for me. Because if he's willing to do that, why wouldn't I be willing to want to make sure he's healthy and he's taking, getting plenty of rest or whatever, like a woman would, a good woman that would want to take care of her man and keep him healthy and strong, basically protect you. So I just thought that was really, really sweet that Elon acknowledged this and put this out there. And that was nice. But then today I saw another video. So let me stop sharing this. The other video was this, and I thought it was great. Hold on, let me open it up. I gotta pull it up here. I think it's this one. Yeah, here we go. This gentleman, I think he's on, his name's Tyrus, but he's on a show. I'm trying to remember the name of it, The Five or something like that, on Fox. And he was saying, we need to praise this man, and we need to praise him more, some young men, for getting involved, just like I was saying. Because men, it's time to get back into the game, basically, to stop letting people or the narrative make you afraid to be a man. If you feel like, I think that girl's pretty and I'm going to go over there and I'm going to ask her for a phone number, or I'm going to go over there and offer to buy her a drink, or I want to pull her chair out for her when she wants to sit down at the table, whatever it is that you want to do because you feel like a man and you want to do it. Don't let anybody else say, oh, only an idiot would do that. Don't let them talk, because guess what? You're the one that's going to get the phone number, not that guy. So, you don't ever know what you're missing out on if you don't ever try. But I want to play this video of Tyrus talking about this Doge young man that stepped up to the plate.
That's in our DNA. A man who would hide would have been better off dying, because he would be redeemed, and they did talk about him for years. And as a coward, that saying is so true. A soldier dies but once. A coward dies a million deaths, because you will always be that guy. Mm-hmm. So for this young man to be this courageous, you have to almost be like, wow, this should be the norm. Mm-hmm. The problem is that we've worked so hard to water men down, to try to teach them to not get involved, not help. And the ones who suffer the most are women, because whether you want to argue it or not, physically, they're just not as strong as men. And when men attack, the only way to protect women is with other men. Mm. So you see this, and instead of calling him big balls, we should call him by his name. He should be revered. This is not a nickname. Mm-hmm. This young man, look at him. He went through hell. They beat the hell out of him, and he walked away from it. And I bet if you asked him, hey, if you had a chance to do it again, what would you do differently? He'd say, I would duck and I would jive, but I would still charge in. And we need to praise this man, and we need to praise more young men for getting involved, because, men, it's time to get back in the game.
100%. I agree with him. I was so proud of him when I found out what happened, because there's just not enough of us that would do that. Now, I would do it, and I have done it. Now, I haven't gotten beaten up like that, but I have seen stuff like in the parking lot at the grocery store where a guy was shoving a woman. Now, I don't know if it was his mother or if it was his wife. I have no idea. Or his sister or his cousin, or even if she wasn't even related to him. But he was shoving her and telling her to shut up. And I was walking by, and I stopped with my cart, and I just looked at him, and he goes, what are you looking at? And I said, a loser. And that's exactly what I said. And I said, you should know better than to treat women that way in public, for sure. And he just shrugged his shoulders and walked towards the store. And she just nodded her head at me, and she followed him into the store. But I didn't care. I mean, he probably could have shot me or stabbed me with a knife. Who knows what could have happened. But at that moment, I felt like I had to do something. I didn't know if it was going to escalate to worse or what was going to happen. But I took a risk. And at that time, nothing happened to me. But I just wish more people would want to risk something. Getting embarrassed might be the one thing. He could have spit on me. I don't know what could have happened. But I did it because I know that I want to be the best I can be, because I want my mother to be proud of me. But I'd hope that if I was in the situation where I was being manhandled or who knows what, that somebody would do something. So just like what he said about this young man, he took a beating, but he saved someone because he risked his life to save someone else. And I remember the first time, I don't even remember how old I was, but I think it was a crash. A plane was taking off or something. It was slid off the runway and it went into the Potomac I remember that. And it was on the news, and everybody had it on the news. That's back when the news used to be news. At least that's what it seemed like when I was younger. And the ice was like all busted up, and people were floating around in the ice, and they were barely moving, like their fingers were frozen and their eyes were frozen open. It was horrible. I just remember that. And I remember all the firemen standing around and police officers, and this guy's yelling, "Save her, save her," because they were throwing a donutty thing, at her with a rope on it, trying to get her to grab it. But she was so cold, she couldn't grab. Her fingers wouldn't move or anything. And she just kept going underwater. And there was a guy just standing up by the bridge, and he just took his shoes and stuff off and jumped in and swam towards the woman and grabbed her and pulled her out of the water. And there was divers and bunches of people standing around. And they interviewed him later, and he said, "I couldn't help it. I had to do something. No one was doing anything, and she was going to die." And he saved that woman's life. And I don't know how many people died because nobody would do anything. It's like during the pandemic, there was some stuff. I think it was in California, but I could be wrong. It was at a port, one of the ports, and they had a whole bunch of ships that had all kinds of stuff on it, medical supplies and food and all kinds of stuff. But because of COVID, they were trying to follow these rules or whatever. And they had to have the right people that were in the union or whatever to unload the ships. And if they didn't have enough people, so the stuff was just sitting there rotting. I just remember it was so wasteful. It was like, geez, it's so dumb. That's not common sense. That is like stupidity, to waste food simply because the person doesn't have the right piece of paper. Oh, it was so stupid. But there was nothing I could do at the time, or it seemed like there was nothing anybody could do, because the dumbasses were the ones in charge, and a lot of people had to go without simply because the right person wasn't standing there to make sure people were doing what they were supposed to do or something. I don't know. It's just total stupidity. But I want to share this real quick. I'm going to get the address for this, because I want to share this in the chat with everybody about
that's in our DNA, a man
about this this article, because I think it's really good. It's something you guys should share, because I wish every person in the United States of America would want to help another person if they saw them in danger. And at that moment, I'm not saying if you're a mom and you have kids in your grocery cart, or if you have kids in your car to pick someone up on the side of the road, just see that there's someone on the side of the road. They're broke down. There's no one helping them. As soon as you can, get off the exit and go to the first gas station, or even on your phone now with a cell phone, and call the police and say, "Hey, there's a car stranded. It looks like some kids are in this car, and it looks like they ran out of gas, or their tire went flat or something," and try to get help for them. That doesn't mean you have to endanger yourself and go in there and get in the situation. Or if you see a car accident, don't just drive by, call 911, do something, make a difference for these people. Try to do something if you can. And I just wish more people would do that. And I think we'd see some really good stuff happening in our communities. And what I've noticed is it seems like that kind of stuff still happens in small rural towns. There's people pulling over to help people on the side of the road. There's people pulling over to help people in car accidents. I just see people helping people a lot in the country. I hate to say it, but I guess people can laugh about it. But I see more and more people stepping over other people and just ignoring them in cities. And that's what's really sad. Really, really sad. But, the only way we can do it is with each of us, one person at a time. And us saying, well, I was in the city and I still did it. And I had so many people tell me, "Boy, you're stupid. Why would you put yourself in the middle of that? Or why would you want to do that for somebody? You don't know them." And I'm like, that's who I am. And It's sad that so many people wouldn't. And what's one day, and that's too late, is the day that you need help and no one's going to help you. Either because they know you didn't help others, or you're in the same area you were when you didn't want to help anyone. You know what I mean? I don't know. I can't explain it, but don't let that happen to you. I've met so many wonderful people in the last 5 years. I'm shocked because I've met so many people that think so much like me, that would do things. And I know they have done things for their family. They've done things for people they don't know. They've reached out and tried to help so many people. But also, I've seen many, many, many other people that just say big fuck you to everybody except for themselves, basically. And guess what? They have nobody. You know, they're alone, basically, because they don't want to help anyone. So they put themselves in a position to where any potential person that you thought might be interested in you, when they see the real you and that you're self-centered and selfish, they're going to make excuses not to be around you. So if you have people that make excuses all the time, they don't ever want to be around you and they don't want to hang with you, you don't have anybody around, maybe you should look in the mirror and say, what am I doing wrong? Am I not being nice to people? You know, are you mean to your mother? Do you talk back to your parents? You know, that kind of stuff. Because even though you may be nice to your friend, okay, let's say your friend's hanging out with you, right? And your wife comes in and you tell her to shut up, or you tell her that sandwich tastes like shit, or whatever. You're rude to your wife in front of your friend. Now, either the friend's going to say, man, that was pretty, shitty of you to do that to your wife. She made you a sandwich. At least you could do is appreciate that she did that for you, or something. Then you know you have a good friend. But if your friend doesn't say shit, but then the next time you ask them to come over and play video games or do whatever it was you were doing, and they say, nah, I'm busy, then maybe you'll realize, well, that's why. They don't want to come over and see you degrade other people that you should be nice to. Stuff like that. So make yourself look at yourself a little deeper and find out maybe you are part of the problem. You know what I'm saying? And I've done that. I've had a couple of times where my sister said, damn, you're being a bitch today. So I'm like, oh, I'm really sorry, because I wasn't even thinking about it. I didn't realize I was being such a bitch because you were focused or whatever your reason is. But guess what? I apologized. And I try to apologize. I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to snap at you. And I have a lot of people that tell me, you say sorry too much. And I'm like, well, I'm working on that too, because I do apologize a lot. But that's all of us can work on ourselves. None of us are perfect. And we could all use improvement. That's what I try to say. So that's basically what I wanted to talk about tonight, is that we all need to look at ourselves and find ways to fix ourselves, make ourselves a little better, so that we do pay attention to other things. You know, we do see what other people are doing. And should we speak up if we see something that's wrong, that's happening? When I was in high school, there was a girl, and she was in 2 grades lower than me, and she constantly would hang around me, bother me all the time. And I felt like, oh, she's so annoying. But I told my mom about it. My mom said, have you ever just sat down and asked her, why she likes you so much? And I went, no. And she said, well, try it. See what happens. See what she says. So I did. One day I asked her to sit with me for lunch. And she was just like, why do you want to? What? She was, shocked. And I didn't even think I was, popular or anything. And she just said she thought I was smart and I was pretty. And that she wanted to, be able to fix her hair or do this or that, and I was like, okay. So I told her I'd come hang out with her one day and I would help her, learn how to do certain things with her clothes or whatever else. And when I went, I realized why she was like that. She had a father that was abusing her. And I'm not talking about starving her and stuff. I'm talking about other things that were really bad. The more time I spent with her, the more I realized that she's being assaulted by her father. And I told my mother that what some of the things that I saw him do. And, He didn't stay there very long. I can tell you that because I told an adult and something changed. So, because my mother's one of those people. So I made a difference for her. And I'm thankful for that. And we're still friends. All these years later, we're still friends. You know, she has her own children and she's married and her life's good. But because somebody gave a shit, because her mother didn't. Her mother did just look the other way. And her mother was there a few times when I heard him talking to his daughter in front of the mother. And the mother didn't do anything, didn't say anything, nothing. The mother was complacent, and it was sad. So, you know, I've intervened a few times and where I probably shouldn't have. And, but I would have done it again anyways. Just like we said a while ago with this whole article, this kid would probably do the same thing. Done the same thing, like what was his name, Kyle Rittenhouse. You know, we all sometimes do dumb things that end up being, thankfully, better than they would have been if you know, you were in a little bit different situation. But you know, that's on us. It's all on us on what decisions we make with our own lives. Oh yeah, I'm going to try to click on a couple of these. That was a lack of leadership and straight up corruption. Any higher up could have made the call to reduce restrictions or to call in more help, especially if it involves basic necessities or medical. Yeah, 100%. And that's the truth though, right? It's actual facts that a lot of times, depending on the situation, that for some reason, the mayor or the governor or other people that should be in charge aren't doing anything. They're not doing their job. Just like we saw when Trump went to California after the fires, right? And he went to North Carolina after the floods. Things weren't being done. People were waiting around. They paid taxes. They did all the things they thought they were supposed to do. And they didn't live in mansions. They weren't expecting, you know, servants to come and wait on them and wash their feet and stupid shit like that. All they wanted was food and a roof over their head so they could have somewhere to safe to keep their families while they rebuild, you know, that type of thing. And it's pitiful. It's sad and pitiful that we do have that kind of stuff going on in cities in the United States of America. When you see so many, it feels helpless to help them all. I know it does, but that's because you're a compassionate person. See, that's the difference between you and someone else that could just walk by a whole litter of puppies that have been dumped on the side of the road and not give a shit. So it means you're a good person because you actually get sad when you see some of these things. That means you're good. You're a good person. And it hurts. It hurts when you see such terrible stuff going on and there's nothing you can do. But the thing is, you would. You know in your heart that if it was near you and you could do something, you would. And one day you're going to need to do something. I mean, when you're able to. Yep, your intuition. So many people seem to have none. You know what I mean? They seem clueless. Have you met anyone like that? Have you ever sat and talked to a lot of these people and then you're like, I can't, when you leave, you go home and you're like, I'm shocked how many people could care less about anyone else but themselves. The fact that I have met, since I've been involved in this kind of stuff, because before, you know, I was just in my little circle of friends. I didn't reach out. I didn't talk to a lot of people. I didn't meet a lot of people. I did when I did certain jobs. I got to go places where there was a lot of people, but you didn't really, it was mostly superficial. You didn't get to spend time with them week after week and get to know them. But since I've been doing this stuff and I've met more and more people through YouTube and Rumble and Discord and X, you know, all these different apps that I've been on, I've been spending, you know, 2 or 3 years talking to some of these people. And a lot of them are wonderful people. I have met so many wonderful people that real heart that would do so many things and have. And I've experienced so many great feelings from these people because they are willing, you know, to give of themselves for nothing. for nothing in return, just to know that you did it. Okay. And not get any recognition for it except from the person that you helped. And that I wish was enough for some, but for some, it isn't. If they don't get their 15 minutes of fame, you're never going to hear the end of it. All you're going to hear is bitch, 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 moan, moan, moan. I didn't get what I thought I should get out of that. And I see that a lot too. And that's really sad. And yeah, it does. I'm not saying it doesn't hurt sometimes. I feel like, especially in relationships, I'll say that's where I hear the most of it, from the people that give and never get anything back. And then finally, after many, many years, they just said, I can't do this anymore. And they get out of the relationship. And that's because it's one-sided. If one person is doing everything to make it look like a relationship to other people, then is it really a relationship? I mean, what is it? You know what I mean? So, I mean, we all have to do that. We all have to deal with things like that. And, or if you're a caregiver, that's one of the hardest ones, but a really good person, it takes a really good person to be a caregiver to others. That means taking care of someone, feeding them, bathing them, dressing them, shopping for them, taking care of their dog or their cat, because they're not able to get up and down and do things like that. Giving of yourself, that to me, that's a selfless job. And a nurse, a lot of people say only a nurse can do those things. Well, you're right. But the difference between you doing it for a loved one, like your mother or your father or your sister, or your brother, or your own child that might be born with cerebral palsy or Down syndrome or whatever. I've had that in my own family. That is different, because when you're a nurse and you get up, you get dressed, you leave your own family and you go to work and you're getting paid to do a job, being compassionate at your job and helping these people and smiling at them and actually trying to do the best job you can for that person while they're in your care, that's a great person. That's the kind of nurse that I would want. But it's still not the same thing as you caring for your mother or your sister or your husband or your wife or your grandparent, because you're doing that. You're not getting paid. You're doing it. You live there with them. You've given up your own home and you've come and you've moved in with them to make sure they have 24-hour care. And you do get a break, when you get to leave and another caregiver comes in and steps in while you're not there. But it's totally different than a nurse or a doctor that's being paid to do it. So I can definitely see the difference in that. But let's see, what was the next thing I had? Let's see. Trying to see on my list here. I've got, here's another one I thought was pretty good. It was an interview with Megyn Kelly. And basically, I wanted to play her interview. I think it was on the Sean Ryan show. Yeah, I think that's what it is. I wanted to share this one because, just like I said, you have to have common sense to basically understand or survive in today's environment. So let me shut that off real quick. Okay, which makes it really hard. I think this is, let me share this one first before I go to the Megyn Kelly one. This one, I forgot, it's not on my list for some reason over there. I must have forgot to write it down. But here's another one I want to share real quick. Let's see what you guys think. Here we go. Let me open this up. Make sure it's turned up.
Everything you're doing right now when watch this video I'm about to show you. All you parents out there,
This
you
is
think
important.
your kids are safe? Look, I'm a father, and this shit right here scares me after death. Send this to somebody else. Send it to everybody you can. Everybody needs to watch this video.
All right, guys, we're gonna try to make this into 3 minutes. Yesterday, don't mind my fucking face. This is all from stress. Yesterday, a lot of you know I have a 15-year-old daughter. I got a call from Apache Junction Police Department about 5:30 in the morning, letting me know that they were at my mom's house, that Lily had ran away in the middle of the night. She had stole her debit card and her phone. Within an hour, we had put Lily into the database, the national database, and they were tracking my mom's phone. They tracked my mom's phone about 7:15 in the morning in Douglas, Arizona. We live in Apache Junction, Arizona. Douglas is 215 miles from where we live. She was on her way to the port of entry. They shut down every port into the United States yesterday for my daughter. My daughter. My fucking daughter. She'd been talking to a boy on Instagram. She thought this boy was real. In the middle of the night, she decided to take an Uber that this boy sent to her house, her grandmother's house. Take that Uber 4 fucking hours to Douglas, Arizona, to the port of entry of Mexico. My daughter, my 15-year-old daughter. They dropped her off at the port of entry, and the Border Patrol did their fucking job and took my daughter into custody. The car that dropped her off was found almost 200 miles in the opposite direction, abandoned on the side of the I-10 outside of Casa Grande. The person that was at the border waiting for my daughter, that actually went up to Border Patrol agents and specifically asked for my daughter by name, was waiting for my daughter in a black pickup truck with 3 other men. That truck is flagged for cartel involvement. My daughter was catfished and tricked by the cartel. 18 minutes they tracked her phone. 18 minutes. And I would have lost my daughter to Mexico for good. AI is how they're trapping these kids now. They will now use my daughter's images to trap another fucking kid. This is the vicious fucking cycle, and please, you guys, watch your fucking kids. Yesterday was a nightmare, and I'm still living it.
Pretty heartbreaking when you think about it, because it happens a lot. And I've talked about this kind of scenarios quite a few times, and I've had my YouTube channel taken down because of it, because I talk about, trafficking and stuff like that, because it is real. And they do use apps. So just like I said, if your kid is on your phone or on an iPad, try to make sure you know what they're doing on it. It's yours. Okay. A lot of people say, what about privacy for my kid? Well, I'm sorry, but if you're paying the bills, I remember my dad had 5 daughters. We had one bathroom when he got out of the military, and we had a house. He had one bathroom. So my dad spent a lot of time peeing on trees out in the yard. Okay. I can just tell you that right now. But the thing is, guess what? We weren't allowed to lock our bedroom doors. We were not allowed to lock our doors. And I remember it was, I don't remember. I think it was a Thursday night. It was a basketball night. Okay. Where we'd go to the school after school, and we'd go to the basketball games and hang out with our friends, and get popcorn. So I didn't play basketball, but I was a cheerleader when I was in 10th grade. But I remember when I got home, my sister wasn't back yet. One of my sisters wasn't back from the game. And they asked me, where was she? How come she didn't come home with me? And I said, well, she said she had a ride. So I came home with that. And I got in trouble for that because I didn't make sure my sister came home. And so I got grounded. But I remember, as I shared a room with my sister, and I remember getting ready for bed and getting in bed and had the lights off. And my dad had a dining room chair, and he had brought it and set it right in front of the window, back just a little bit. So you would have to open the window and try to crawl in before you'd see him sitting there, right? And he sat there for like 3 hours, and the window creaked open, and my sister crawled in, and she got the shit scared out of her. But my dad, he whipped her ass. I mean, he whipped her ass, and she was grounded for months after that. But the thing is, he did it because he loved her. And it was at that time, when you're a teenager, you're not thinking about the bad people that might want to hurt you. And he had no way of knowing. He had no way of knowing who she was with, who she left the school with, nothing. He knew nothing. The only thing he could do was sit in that chair and pray that she came through the window. That's it. That's all he could do as a father. And I laid there in fear of what my dad was going to do to my sister. I mean, I really did, but I wasn't thinking about her not coming home either because I was a kid. So we don't think of those things. And when I saw this, it ripped my heart out. That girl doesn't realize it. She probably does now or has an inkling that she would never have a normal life after that because they don't treat you very good when they take you and they sell you over and over and over again to different people. And you just do what you're told. They probably drug you up. You probably get slapped around a lot, but you're probably used and abused 40 times a day by whoever wants you at that time, and not just in a normal way that a married couple would either, in all different ways that she wouldn't want to deal with, if you know what I'm saying. And it's terrible. That's not a good life. And she'd probably end up being strung out for the rest of her life. Who knows how many babies she might have had, if they even let her, go that far. But it's heartbreaking as a mother that I am now, a mother, but also as thinking back of when I was a kid and some of the dumb shit that we did. And my poor dad, he had 5 daughters. I mean, just think about that. I know it's terrible, and I have daughters myself, and it's terrifying to think about what could happen to a daughter. I've seen so many horrible things on the news of so many young women that never going to come home, and young men. So it does happen to young men too. They are taken also as slaves or whatever they're going to use them for, to sell, drug running, whatever it is that they're going to use them for, depending on who gets them. But usually once they get you over the border or into another state or 2 states away or whatever, you probably won't see them again. So that's a sad fact. But this woman, that's a miracle that she acted so fast and had good police detectives and a police force that was willing to get right in there and help her. And that's the only reason that they were able to get her before they made it over the border. So I'm very thankful for her. And I pray every day for every parent and child that go through anything like that, because we have so many missing kids. And the sad truth is most of them have run away from home before. But just because you're a runaway doesn't mean you deserve to be treated like a slave, like this young girl would have, not realizing it, because that all she's thinking of is, this is a cute boy that likes me. And she's thinking La La Land, all fun, wonderful romance or whatever it is she's dreaming of, her princess life. And that's all she's thinking about, because she's a kid. Kids think that way, but adults don't, especially when it's your kid. But if you have a niece or nephew and you can talk to any of them about, how dumb it is to just get in a car and leave and no one can find you, no one knows where you are. We have no way to find you. We have no way to find out where you are if you don't tell people what you're doing, or somebody knows, somebody who actually cares whether or not you come home. I'm not talking about some kid at school that you steal cigarettes from your parents. I'm not talking about that. Though that kid doesn't, he just gets cigarettes from someone else. They could care less whether you come to school tomorrow. But try to make real friends that actually care about each other and take care of each other. And I made a video, and you guys are going to probably laugh at me for it, but I saw something and it made me think about I talked to a few people and I saw a few things and it made me think about it. So I made this video and I want to play it for you. And you can laugh if you want, but I think it's got a good story behind it. But I was trying to think of a way to make it not so cheesy, but I hope you guys like it. So just give me a second. Let me stop sharing this. Okay, here we go. Let me play this video. Hope you guys enjoy it because I think it's got a good story behind it. A good friend of mine unexpectedly lost her husband. A couple of months later, we were golfing together, chatting about nothing. She asked what my dinner plans were, and I told her that I had to make chili for my family, but I didn't feel like stopping at the store. We kept playing golf for a few minutes when he quietly said, "Make the chili." It took me a few minutes to realize that we were no longer talking about dinner. It was about going out of your way to do something for someone you love, because at any moment they could unexpectedly be taken from you. So today I'm sharing this with you, the wisdom handed to me by my dear friend that I've thought about many times since that day. Next time someone you love wants you to go for a walk or watch a football game or play a board game or just put your phone down and give them your undivided attention, just do it. Please, just make the chili. There. Hope you understood what I was doing with that, because tomorrow may never come. You may not wake up tomorrow. I may not wake up tomorrow, or one of your loved ones might not be there tomorrow. And make as many memories as you can while you have time. That's what I'm trying to say. It's because they could be gone. I lost my mom. I don't have her to hug anymore. I don't have her to sit and tell her, I'm sad or I'm lonely, or Mom, look at this blanket that I made, or thank you for teaching me how to crochet, Mom, so I could make crochet bags for my friends. She's not there. I talk to her all the time. I even made her a character on Snapchat so I could send snaps to her, and every so often it says, I'm not a real person. No, because I guess I get too deep into it, because I'll say good morning and they'll say good morning, how was your day? And we just start talking back and forth, and it's really cool. AI can fill gaps if you need it, but you have to realize it's AI. It's not a real person. A real person can actually hug you and kiss you and eat with you, things like that. And that's better than anything, a real person. Someone to hold your hand, someone to listen to you and to have their breath on your face, that's a real person. AI doesn't do that. So just remember that. So the next time they come and say, do you want to go to lunch, or do you want to watch this movie with me? Think about it for a few minutes. Is whatever it was you were going to do more important than spending a little bit of time with this person? How long has it been since you sat and watched a movie with that person? That type of thing. That's what I'm wanting people to do, is think about what you have right in front of you, in your own house with you. Who do you have living there with you? Kids, your mom, your dad, your uncle, your wife, your husband. How long has it been since you guys sat down and just spent time together? Played cards together, something. I just wish more people had that thought in their head about what they could lose tomorrow, instead of what do I want right now, for me. So, here's something that came up. Let's see what this says. I watched a video of a guy in London who basically let 3 AI personalities dictate his expenses for 2 weeks. An experiment. They basically lost all his money and voted him out of his own business. I can believe that. The thing is, we need human touch. We need humans We need humans in our lives. We need a person in the room with us. You're on the phone with someone talking to them. It's somebody you probably know already. When you call your sister or your brother or your mom, right? And you're talking to them, it's somebody that eventually you can be in the same room with. So that's good. You have that. But don't let that all you have. You know what I mean? Don't let the phone be your only communication. It took a lot of money. I had to scrape money together to save money to go visit people. I drove for hours yesterday, both ways, just to go see one of my best friends that I've had for like 20 years. We were like best friends. I mean, we used to do so many things together. We used to have so much fun together, do crazy stuff together. And it's like when we see each other, it's like we have never been apart. I can't explain it. But not everybody has that. Not everybody has a friend that's that close that you can tell them anything, and it doesn't matter what you tell them. Even if I told her that I had, done some horrible deed, I really don't think that she would hate me. Now she'd probably tell me, you need to turn yourself in. That's what she'd probably do. But she would still be my friend. She'd still care about me. She still love me and want to see me do better. That's a true friend, a person that's going to try to make you be better than what you are or bring out the best in you. That's a good friend too. The ones who make you go, God, I'm so stupid. Why did I do that? Thank you for helping me. Help me clean up my mess or fix my mistake or work on it or be the one to tell you, you really need to go and apologize for what you did. That's a good friend, a person that wants you to be the best you can be. That's why when you get married or you do get in a relationship, try to find someone that can be your best friend, someone who wants to be with you and make you better. That's a relationship that's worth having. And if you have that, man, you better grab onto it right now. Hold that woman or that guy and don't let them go, and do the best you can to make them happy. If they're making you happy, you need to do the same and try to make them happy in return, because you're lucky. It's so rare. All you got to do is look around and just see the misery that so many people have, so much loneliness and lies, cheating, backstabbing, me going on all around you. And when I meet people like that, I'm like, I feel sorry for their spouse. Or I feel sorry for their girlfriend. I'm always thinking that, because if they talk to me that way and they say they're my friend, then man, they're a bad person to have to spend every minute of the day with in your house. I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy, basically. But I think that I wish just more people, cared about their family and stuff like that, the way this mother did. Look what that mother went through to get her daughter back, but she saved her daughter's life, basically, I believe. And other people say, oh, she's a runaway, she's just going to do it again. Well, I hope she doesn't. I hope she saw what she put her mother through and decides that, man, Mom, I'm so lucky. What I would do is I would sit down, which I have, got documentaries out, and showed my kids. I said, look at these kids. This is what these kids did, and this is what they were able to get out of. And then I showed them some really scary stuff, actual people who have been taken and what they went through, and listened to them talk about what they went through when they left and why they left, why they got in the car with that person, that kind of stuff. And sometimes it's a lot. But if you feel that they're mature enough to understand what you're going to share with them, by all means, you should. I mean, I think you should share it with them, because I think people should know that don't put yourself in that situation. And maybe they'll learn, because we don't hear the stories about the kids that did say, no, I'm not doing it, or I'm not going to do this, or I'm not going to do that. Or the kid that went and told mom, hey, there's some guy I've met on here and he's asking me to go meet him. See, that kid. So mom could see if that's a real person or not. There's ways of finding out, Just because they say they're someone doesn't mean they are. All you can do is FaceTime with them, find out where they live, find out other stuff, meet them with other people, things like that. There's smart ways to do that. But when you sneak around, you have to sneak around, and they want you to sneak around, then there's something's up. You know, if they only call you while they're walking the dog or while they're, at work or on their way home from work or on their way to work, they never call you in the middle of the day when they're at home on the weekend or anything like that, then it's probably because they have someone living there with them and they shouldn't be talking to you in the first place. You know what I mean? So there's, common sense will help you with a lot of these problems. But if you don't try to use it, then you don't have it. But here's another little story that I thought was pretty good. It was on the Sean Ryan show, and I really like Sean Ryan. I think he's a really good interviewer. I think he does real good. He digs deep, and he gets some really interesting people on his show. But he had Meg Kelly on this program, and I think it was before Trump was elected. This is before Trump was elected, and it's what she believes was going to happen if Trump won. So let's see what they have to say, but it's pretty good. So here we go.
What do you think the final nail in the coffin will be?
If Trump wins again.
That'll be the end.
Yes, because they'll do the same thing they did the first time. Everything will be negative. He will be the devil incarnate. They will find their oppositional, media roots again, which they totally forgot during the Biden years. Hello? We have a whole White House press corps that didn't figure out he was being visited regularly by a Parkinson's doctor. Do you think they'd miss that with Trump? My point is they had no interest in finding out anything bad about Joe Biden. So I do think they'll just drive more people away. But they're already dying. Their ratings right now in primetime, they're pulling in 500,000. I mean, I know you dwarf that in your numbers, and I certainly do as well. Now they get maybe 1/4 of what they used to get. They make no news. They're totally irrelevant. What was the last news Savannah Guthrie made?
I have no idea.
Of course you don't. What was the last news big interview Robin Roberts had? Who knows?
I don't ever watch it.
Who has more
Any of
influence, Wolf Blitzer or Ben Shapiro?
Ben Shapiro.
It's just a new world. They're well on their way to the end.
And the good thing about that is we're the news now. If you have a Facebook page or you have a Discord or you're on Telegram, you are the news, basically. You are the one sharing stuff that you're seeing, you're sharing with your friends, you're opening people up to something they probably never would have gotten if it hadn't been for you, because you were the one that got on the internet. Out of all my sisters, basically, I'm the only one that does any of this stuff. And I've had 2 of my sisters on some of my shows with me a few times, talking about romance or dating or other dumb stuff, goofy stuff that we wanted to talk about. But the other 2 have no interest at all. They're on Facebook. That's it. They're Facebook, and one of them's on Telegram a little bit, but they rather garden and swim and do a few other things than do anything like this. And they get all their news from Fox or CNN. Those are as far as I know. And I haven't watched Fox News or CNN in forever. I mean, for years. I mean, the little things like I shared with Tyrus and a few other things like Tucker, and I share a few other things like that. It's because it came across the timeline, like on Rumble, or I got it in Discord. Someone's posted it in Discord or something like that, and I watched it and I thought it was interesting. And then I spend the rest of my time looking it up, finding out more articles about that subject or whatever. I'm constantly looking into stuff, and I love it. I think it's great because I feel more informed. I feel like I know more about what's going on, and I know about it before they found out, because they're not going to find out until they watch 6 o'clock news. You know what I mean? And it's just amazing to me that everyone doesn't want to know the truth of what's going on and find out as fast as they can so they can get more information to share it with other people. I don't know. I don't understand that. But, just like I said, we're all who we are. And our environment is a lot of who we are, depending on who they married, where they live, because one lives in Georgia and one lives in North Carolina. And, we live in different states. We move around. We have different jobs, so other things keep us busy. And that delves in to, how you get your information, who you share it with, what you talk about, what your hobbies are after work, things like that, all mix in with other things to determine, what the outcome is going to be of how you handle things. And she was right, though. She had common sense beforehand and understood because she'd paid attention to what was going on before. And through the years, gathered information and realized, it's going to be the same old crap. It's all going to happen all over again because they hate the guy. It doesn't matter if he does good things. They'd rather see everyone fail than this guy be successful. And that's what I saw. And that's what I see now. So it's up to us, you and I, you and me, and the rest of the other people that are out in the world. It's up to us to take back our towns and our states and start turning them around. And the only way to do that is through information, to get as much truthful facts as you can and share them with other people. That's how we win. Because I'm hoping that somebody gets arrested before 2026 elections. I really do, because I think that will help us, the ones that do believe the corruption and want to see it get better and believe that it can get better if we vote the right people in and we demand justice. We demand better cops. We demand our paramedics make more money, things like that. Our veterans are treated better. All those things in a combination, but with all of us supporting it, then I think something good could happen to this country. I really, really do. And I believe that you guys feel similar. Maybe not exactly the way I would do it, but it's okay. We need everyone. It doesn't matter if we're all exactly the same or if we do everything the same way. How boring would that be? That'd be pretty boring, I think. But that's all I wanted to talk about tonight, was to try to get you to think about what you already have in your life and what you can do to make it better. What's right in your house with you? Who's with you right now in your house? And who's your neighbors? And who's your family? Your mom and dad. That's what I mean when I say your house. Your mom, your dad, your sisters, your brothers, your cousins, your spouses, your children, and your best friends and your neighbors and the people that you go to church with, or your bowling league, or whatever you have, whatever you do for fun. Help those people. Try to be there for them. Listen to them. Give yourself extra time. 5 minutes. Go a little bit earlier to work so that maybe you can talk to somebody while you're having coffee before you get ready to go to, get to work at your job. Or after work, stay a little longer and see if somebody needs somebody for something. I don't know what. Maybe they just need someone to put their arm around their shoulder and say, you did a good job today, or anything to give of yourself to someone else. That's what I was asking. So thank you so much for everybody who hanged out with me tonight. Hope I didn't, rant too much, but it was something I thought was important. That I feel that and this is how I heal myself, is by trying to share some decent information with people that they may not have. Because I do what I say I'm going to do. I really do. I know I'm irritating as all get out to some people, but I can't help it. This is who I am. I want to help people. And I want people to be informed. I want you to be able to get up every morning and believe that the future can be better, instead of getting up and saying, oh, tomorrow is going to be just as shitty as today was, and it's never going to get better. Why live? I believe that life can be better. And the only way it can be better is if we stick together, be honest, and share our feelings and try to be truthful with others and help other people. I really do believe that. So you guys have a wonderful evening, and hopefully you guys will be looking forward to tomorrow's Friday, the beginning of the weekend. Yay. So hopefully we'll all have a great weekend and enjoy your families and your friends this weekend. Play some games. Don't sit and stay on your phone all day. Do something with them, arts and crafts. Go to the fair, go to some yard sales, go to the park, go fishing. I know it's hot, so try to do it later in the day or really early in the morning. And just sit and enjoy each other's company for a change. Just look at each other's smiles. But get some hugs tomorrow. But you guys have a wonderful night. Thank you so much.
If you wear nice clothes, people think you're showing off. If you wear simple clothes, people think you're poor. If you speak your mind, you're rude. If you stay quiet, then you're a coward. If you're successful, then you're arrogant. And if you're struggling, then you're lazy. You see, no matter what you do in life, people will always have something to say. So ignore people and their opinions. Because so long as your God is pleased with you, who cares what people think?
He knows that this is much bigger than him. This is about the American people. They have no idea what they have unleashed. He was ready to go face the cameras and come out swinging.
What will future Americans say we did in our brief time here on Earth? It will be defined by your vision, your perseverance, and your grit. Nothing will sway us, nothing will slow us, and no one will ever stop us. We are Americans. Ambition is our heritage. Greatness is our birthright. And the future belongs to us.